What happens when Hollywood's most respected man walks into a talk show and the host sitting across from him decides to take him down on live television? It was supposed to be a simple interview, a polite conversation about art, legacy, and a new film. But within minutes, the charm turned to venom. Tamron Hall's questions stopped sounding like curiosity and started feeling like an ambush. And Denzel Washington? He didn't just push back. He dismantled her, line by line, insult by insult, until the entire studio realized this wasn't an interview anymore. It was a public showdown between truth and ego, and Denzel Washington delivered one of the most explosive live moments television had ever seen. Trust me, this talk show won't disappoint you. It'll be worth every second of your time. The lights blaze on, the studio hums with energy, but something feels off from the start. Tamron Hall's smile is bright, camera perfect, yet too rehearsed. Denzel Washington steps in, calm, confident, effortlessly commanding the room. The audience cheers. He nods politely, every movement quiet but deliberate. "Mr. Washington," Tamron begins, her voice dripping with honey, "it's such an honor to have you here." Truly. Though not everyone would agree with that sentiment these days, the crowd murmurs. Denzel raises an eyebrow just slightly. "Is that so? Well, I'm sure you'll tell me who those folks are." Tamron laughs, sharp and hollow. "Oh, I don't name names. I just read what everyone else reads. Some people think fame's gone to your head, that maybe you've forgotten what humility looks like." Denzel leans back, smiling coolly. "If humility means sitting here and letting strangers invent my character for ratings, I'll pass." The audience chuckles uneasily. Tamron's smile tightens. "Oh, come on," she says lightly. "You've been in Hollywood forever. You know how these stories start, and usually there's a little truth hiding somewhere in the smoke." "Smoke?" Denzel replies. "No, what you've got here is fog, the kind you make when there's no fire to find." Her eyes flash. She leans forward, lowering her voice just enough to sound intimate. "And cutting. People talk, Denzel. On your last film, they said you refused to eat with the crew. Demanded your own dressing room, your own bathroom, your own everything." "That's funny," Denzel shoots back, his tone suddenly colder. "The people I actually worked with said something different. But maybe you didn't have time to call them." Tamron smirks, flipping through her notes like she's holding proof. "Well, maybe they were too scared to be honest. You do have a reputation, after all." "A reputation for what?" he asks. "For being intense, controlling, maybe a little difficult," she says, tilting her head. "I mean, some would call it passion. Others would call it ego." Denzel laughs, slow and measured. "Ego's thinking you can sit behind a desk and decide who people are without ever meeting them." The studio goes quiet. Tamron's pen stops tapping. She straightens up, forcing a chuckle. "Relax, Denzel. We're just having a conversation. Don't get so serious." "I'm serious about the truth," he says simply. "That used to matter on shows like this." Her smile turns razor thin. "Oh, we care about truth. That's why we're asking the questions other people are too polite to ask. For instance," she pauses, glancing at the audience for effect. "Is it true your wife begged you to take fewer romantic roles because it made her uncomfortable?" The air shifts. Denzel's calm face hardens slightly. "That's a low swing, Tamron." She shrugs. "Low or not, people are curious. The whole faithful family man thing. Does it ever get hard to keep up?" He stares at her, voice level but tight. "You're confusing real life with tabloids. But I get it. Gossip's easier to sell than dignity." Tamron laughs again, but it sounds forced this time. "Come on, Denzel. Don't act like you're above it. You built a career on image. Stoic, righteous, untouchable. Maybe it's time people saw the cracks." Denzel leans in, eyes locked on hers. "Cracks don't scare me, but fake smiles do." The audience gasps quietly. Tamron freezes for a second, then recovers, crossing her legs with feigned calm. "Well," she says, "I hope you brought that same energy for the rest of the interview." "We have a lot to talk about," Denzel smirks. "I'm sure you do. Just be careful. Sometimes when you dig for dirt, you end up standing in it." Tamron shifts in her chair, her voice taking on a colder edge. The friendly TV tone is gone, replaced by something harder, sharper. Let's just be honest, Denzel, she says, leaning forward with a smirk. People say you've changed, that the fame's made you difficult, demanding, arrogant even. Some say you walk on set like a king expecting everyone to bow. Denzel lets out a low laugh, the kind that's more disbelief than amusement. 40 years in this business, he says calmly. And that's what you lead with? Not the films, not the work, but gossip? She shrugs, flipping her cue cards like evidence in a courtroom. It's not gossip if it's coming from people who've worked with you. They say you've forgotten what humility looks like. He tilts his head slightly. Humility's showing up every day and doing your job right. I've been doing that since before half this audience was born. Tamron chuckles, but there's no warmth in it. Oh, I'm sure you have. But let's not rewrite history. I've got a few stories here that say, otherwise she lifts a sheet of paper dramatically, scanning it as if she's uncovering a scandal. One source claims you refused to speak to several crew members on your last project, that you even banned them from using your private bathroom. The audience reacts with quiet shock. Denzel leans forward slowly, his eyes fixed on her. Sources? He repeats, his tone ice cold. Or just gossip you found between commercial breaks? Her smile tightens, the kind of smile that hides irritation. Don't get defensive, she says quickly. Then stop pretending rumor is research, Denzel fires back. The crowd murmurs, sensing the temperature in the room shift. Tamron presses on, voice sharper now, almost taunting. You know it's funny. Every star says the same thing when they get called out. It's all lies, it's all rumors. But maybe, just maybe, everyone isn't lying about you, Denzel. He leans closer, his tone low, calm but cutting. You're right, not everyone's lying. But someone here clearly is. Her jaw tightens. Are you accusing me of lying on national television? He meets her gaze without blinking. I'm saying you're selling a story that doesn't exist. And I'm the headline you think will make it sell? The studio goes silent. Cameras zoom in instinctively, catching the exact moment the warmth drains out of the room. Tamron forces a laugh, trying to break the tension. Oh, come on, Denzel. Don't be so dramatic. He smiles thinly. That's your job, isn't it? Her face freezes. Tamron's patience snaps like a twig. Her tone turns sharp, laced with open contempt. Oh, come on, Denzel, she says, laughing bitterly. You've lived in Beverly Hills so long, you probably forgot what normal even looks like. The audience shifts uncomfortably. Even through the cameras, the mood feels different now, colder. Denzel's face hardens. Careful, Tamron, he says quietly, his voice low but firm. Mocking someone's success doesn't make you bold. It makes you bitter. Her eyebrows shoot up, and that's when the gloves come off. Bitter? She fires back. Please, I've interviewed presidents and billionaires. You think I'm bitter because you've got a mansion and a few awards on your shelf? Denzel smirks slightly. No, I think you're bitter because you mistake tearing people down for journalism. The jab lands. The crowd reacts. A ripple of oohs from the seats. Tamron's jaw tightens. She leans forward, eyes locked on him. You know what I think, she says, voice dripping with sarcasm. I think you've been living in your own little fantasy, surrounded by assistants, agents, publicists, all paid to tell you you're the greatest thing since oxygen. You probably haven't pumped your own gas in 20 years. The air in the studio grows tense. Denzel doesn't blink. He leans forward, his tone icy calm. You want authenticity? He says softly. Here it is. I talk to people every day who don't need cameras to feel relevant. Tamron freezes for a beat. The words hang in the air, sharp enough to cut through the silence. She lets out a forced laugh, but it doesn't sound human anymore. It sounds defensive. Oh, please. The grocery store hero routine? That's cute. What's next? You'll tell me you take the bus? Denzel shakes his head slowly. No, I'll tell you that I walk through life without needing to tear someone down just to feel taller. That line hits her like a slap. She sits back in her chair, the smirk gone. The audience goes completely silent, waiting. For the first time, Tamron looks rattled. She taps her pen against her cards, trying to recover her composure. You seem awfully sensitive for someone who's supposedly so grounded, she says, her voice brittle. And you seem awfully desperate, Denzel replies, for someone who claims to be in control. Tamron's frustration boils over. She's lost control of the tone, but instead of backing down, she doubles down, her voice sharper, louder, desperate to reclaim authority. Oh, I see what's happening, she says, gesturing toward him with a forced laugh. You're doing it again, playing the saint, the noble black man who can do no wrong, always calm, always righteous, always the victim. The room goes silent. The air shifts, heavy, dangerous. Denzel's expression changes. His eyes harden, his jaw sets, and when he speaks, his voice drops an octave. Say that again. Tamron blinks, realizing too late what she's done. The confidence slips from her face, replaced by a flash of unease. But pride won't let her retreat. I said, maybe you've been acting for so long you don't know when to stop. Maybe this, she gestures to him, her words trembling, is just another performance. The sound of her voice dies in the air. No one moves, no one breathes. Denzel slowly stands, not in anger but in absolute control. His calm is unnerving, the kind that makes every word hit harder. You think dignity is a costume? He asks, his tone cutting like steel. You think integrity is a prop I pull out for interviews? He takes a step closer, his gaze locked on hers. I earned both, while you mistook cruelty for journalism. Tamron scoffs nervously. Oh, please. He cuts her off, voice sharper now. No, you don't get to talk over me while questioning who I am. The audience gasps. Denzel's voice fills the studio. Calm but commanding, every syllable steady and deliberate. I've given my life to telling stories that matter. Stories that lift people up. You've given yours to tearing them down. And you call that truth? Tamron freezes, caught off guard by the weight of his words. Her lips part, but nothing comes out. Denzel continues, his voice like quiet thunder. You want to expose something? Fine. Expose the truth about why you enjoy watching people fall apart on your couch. Expose the part of you that feels powerful when someone else feels small. Her eyes flicker, unsure whether to respond or retreat. The audience doesn't move. The silence is total, the kind that doesn't come from confusion, but awe. Tamron tries to force a laugh, but it catches in her throat. You're being dramatic, she manages weakly. Denzel looks at her, unblinking. No, Tamron. I'm being real. Something you might want to try sometime. The words land like a final strike. She sits frozen, unable to meet his eyes. Denzel exhales slowly, his anger giving way to something deeper. He turns slightly toward the camera, not to escape the confrontation, but to speak directly to everyone watching. His tone is calm, but heavy with meaning. The real me, he says evenly, isn't what you read on blogs or in some anonymous quote from a source. The real me is what I've done. The years I've spent building youth centers, mentoring kids who didn't believe they had a chance, staying married to the same woman for 40 years, raising my kids to be better than me. That's who I am. His eyes flick back to Tamron. But none of that matters to you, does it? Because decency doesn't trend. Integrity doesn't go viral. The audience goes quiet. You can hear the soft hum of studio lights. Tamron forces out a dry laugh, rolling her eyes like she's swatting away a speech she didn't ask for. Oh, please, she says, voice dripping with disdain. Anyone can write checks, Denzel. That doesn't make you a good person. It just means you can afford guilt. A low murmur ripples through the crowd. The jab lands cheap and heavy. Denzel stares at her, unflinching. You're right, he says, his tone calm but sharp as glass. Writing a check doesn't make you good. Showing up when there are no cameras does. Listening to someone when there's nothing in it for you, that does. Try it sometime. The audience reacts, a mix of gasps and quiet applause. The line hits like a bullet, precise and unshakable. Tamron looks caught between a glare and a smirk, unsure which mask to wear. For the first time, her confidence wavers. Denzel sits back in his chair, eyes steady, voice quiet now. Not angry, just certain. You can't fake real. And no matter how long these lights stay on, People at home, they know what's real. Tamron says nothing. The silence between them feels heavier than any argument could. Tamron's face is flushed now, her voice no longer polished or professional. It's raw, shaky with anger. The calm talk show mask is gone. "You just can't handle being challenged," she snaps, her words tumbling out fast, desperate. "The second someone pushes back, you act like you're being attacked." Denzel doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. His reply slices through the noise like a quiet blade. "You confuse challenge with disrespect," he says evenly. "One comes from curiosity. The other comes from ego. Guess which one this is?" Her jaw tightens. "You think you're untouchable because of your Oscars?" She shoots back, practically spitting the words. He leans forward slightly, eyes fixed on her. "Awards don't make me untouchable," he says coldly. "My behavior does. And today you showed exactly why yours keeps people at a distance." The audience murmurs. The camera catches everything. The tremor in Tamron's hand as she adjusts her papers. The flicker of panic behind her glare. She's losing control of her own show and she knows it. "Oh, give me a break," she fires back, trying to recover. "You sit there acting all wise and noble, but everyone knows the truth. You're a fraud, Denzel." Pretending to be humble while living like royalty. Denzel leans in slowly, his voice calm, deliberate, deadly. "Better to live with success," he says, "than to sit in bitterness disguised as journalism." The studio gasps. Even the crew flinches at the precision of it. Tamron's face hardens, but her eyes give her away. A flash of humiliation, then fury. "You think this makes you look strong? You're just another celebrity who can't stand being questioned." Denzel shakes his head slightly. "No," he says. "I can handle questions. What I won't handle is cruelty dressed up as curiosity." He pauses, then delivers the line that ends the round. "You've been waiting your whole career for a moment like this. Not to interview, but to humiliate. Congratulations, Tamron. You finally went viral. For all the wrong reasons." The audience bursts, gasps, whispers, phones rising to record. Tamron sits frozen, caught in the glare of her own lights. Denzel doesn't gloat. He just sits back, calm, composed. The studio feels like it's holding its breath. No one moves. The tension hums in the air, louder than the lights overhead. Denzel sits still for a moment, eyes locked on Tamron. And then, without saying a word, he reaches for the microphone clipped to his jacket. He unclasps it slowly, that tiny metallic click echoing through the silence like a gunshot. He sets the mic down on her desk. The sound is deliberate, final. Tamron stiffens, panic flickering in her eyes. "You can't just walk away," she blurts out, voice cracking. "We're live." Denzel straightens up, calm as ever. "Watch me." He looks out toward the audience, his voice steady but resonant, carrying the kind of authority that can't be rehearsed. "You came for a conversation about art," he says, his tone heavy but clear. "Instead, you saw the cost of fame in the hands of envy." For a second, no one reacts. And then the applause erupts. It starts small, hesitant, but grows fast until the entire audience is on their feet. People are clapping, cheering, shouting his name. Tamron's jaw tightens. She tries to speak over the noise, but her voice disappears under the wave of applause. Denzel doesn't look back. He just starts walking toward the edge of the set, each step measured, composed, final. Then, her voice cuts through the chaos, bitter, shrill. "Go back to your mansion, Denzel," she yells after him. "Go back to your perfect little world." He stops mid-step, turns halfway, just enough for the cameras to catch the look on his face. Calm but sharper than a blade. "The difference between us, Tamron," he says quietly, "is I built mine. You're still trying to rent yours out, one scandal at a time." A single beat of silence. Then the room explodes. Applause, cheers, gasps. The sound drowns everything else. Tamron freezes at her desk, her expression blank. The camera stays on her, a host with nothing left to say, trapped in the silence she created. Denzel walks off the set without looking back. The lights glare brighter now, as if even they know whose dignity just owned the room. What you just witnessed wasn't an interview. It was a reckoning, a clash between pride and principle, between envy and integrity. If you believe dignity still matters, even when the cameras are rolling, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and tell us, was Denzel right to walk away? Let's talk about it.